Hello. Do you like that? Do you like recorders? I can't play a recorder. Hi. Well, welcome to my storage unit. Yeah, what brings you here today? You surprised me. Oh, what was that? What? You want me to tell you a story? Oh, well, I love telling stories, and the storage unit is a perfect place to tell a story, so thank you for coming and asking me to. I would love to, so come on in and see if you can find a place to sit. You just have to kind of clear a spot because it's kind of messy. I made myself a spot here because I was hoping you'd come by. So you want to hear a story, do you? Well, I have so many things around here that remind me of times in my life. I have lots of stories. Well, let's see. Oh, this has got to be one of my most favorite stories of all time. This is a story that will go down in history. Yes. Okay, so you're listening. This is a super, super wonderful story. This has got, out of all the stories that I have all the stories that I have to tell, this is my favorite story. So this is a bag that I got in Jerusalem last year when we went for Sukkot, and I got it at a certain place. I'm going to tell you about that place in a moment. And in the bag, I put some Israeli money so that I could remember, actually, so I could go to Israel next time with some money. This is super fun. I like shekels. They feel good. But this is where I keep this, just kind of keep it in here as a remembrance of my time in Israel. But this Jerusalem bag, I got at what's called the Garden Tomb. Now, as I like to do with every story, right? I like to start it by saying, once upon a time, a long, long time ago. And today, I'm going to use that phrase. It was a very long time ago. So, once upon a time, a very, very long time ago, there lived a little boy who grew up to be our Messiah. Yes, our Messiah, Yahshua. He lived in Israel a long, long time ago. So, wow, a long, long time ago, Yahshua lived here, and he walked among us, and he paid the sacrifice, the once for all time sacrifice for everyone. And there is a certain location in Israel that has the place where he was crucified, where he was sacrificed, and the place where he laid in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights and didn't go anywhere, just laid in the grave, was prepared by his Father for us to eat of, and where he rose, where he broke out of that tomb and the grave couldn't hold him anymore. So there is a very, very special location where all of this happened. And one of the things that happened in this location is the Ark of the Covenant was anointed with his blood. Oh, I have to tell you this story. It is the most amazing story. When we went to Israel last year for Sukkot, we didn't go on a tour. We didn't buy a tour. We just went by cold turkey. We had scheduled some places where we wanted to go with lodging and activities that we decided we wanted to do, and we were on our way and on our route to do that. Well, when we got down to Jerusalem, the one biggest place that we wanted to go in Jerusalem, I wanted to go, was the Garden Tomb. And the only place, the only time in all of our trip there that Papa had arranged for us a tour that he wanted us to have. I find that stunning. So much of the time we organize our whole life so carefully. Like, I'm going to organize this, I'm going to plan this, and this is what I'm going to do, and this and this and this. And he's like, you know what? If you just walked with me, I have some really great things in store for you. I tell this to my children all the time. I don't want to go to town with you. I don't want to do this with you. I look at them and I'm like, isn't coming with mommy pretty cool? Like, I can surprise them with wonderful things. We can go out to eat. We can go get an ice cream cone. We can go get a Jamba Juice. We can go for a walk. We can go see a friend. I mean, you never know what Mama's going to throw at you when you come with her. So we came with Papa, and we let him take us on this tour. Had no idea this tour was going to happen. So let me tell you. the Garden Tomb is in somewhat of a dangerous location. It is in outside the Muslim quarter, so it's outside of the Damascus Gate. And the Garden Tomb was a little difficult to get to for us newbies. It was a little scary trying to find parking and then walking to it. And I really felt like I was feeling a lot of the heavenly conflict there. I felt a lot of spiritual warfare going on, and in that quarter it's super dirty, and it's just a bad place. And the people there are it's not a good place. So, but I wanted to go to the Garden Tomb so bad. And it was really nice to see that there was Israeli forces there that were kind of guarding the tomb area. So we went down, got a place to park, and paid our parking fee and started walking down to the Garden Tomb and get there. Go into the Garden Tomb, and we looked around for a while. It was really cool, but there was one spot where we knew that Michael Rood had been preaching from, where he and a whole bunch of other people, Ron Wyatt, believed that Yahshua was crucified, and there in the Garden Tomb. So if you go to Israel and you are part of tours and stuff, they most likely will take you to places that they ordained that Yahshua died. But he didn't die in the places that they talk about. He died here, and he's crucified here in this garden, and there's so much proof that this was the place. Well, so wild, because we couldn't find this place in the Garden Tomb area. So it's a little park, and you walk on these little streets, little paths, and you can go see the skull, and you can go see the Garden Tomb, and really nice little areas to walk. But we knew that there was a place in this video we saw that Michael Rood was preaching from, where he was talking about the scar. So he knew exactly where to take us. So he said, "Follow me." And we followed him down to an area where we had passed this area for a lot. We had kept passing this area, and he brought us down into this little picnic area, and it had a wooden floor, and it had like a structure over the top and it was kind of, it looked like it was temporary. It looked like something that could be moved. And so we were sitting there and looking at the wall, and he's trying to tell us exactly what we know from what we heard on the YouTube video. He's trying to tell us that this is the wall where he was crucified. And all of a sudden, I heard from behind me a man say something about Ron Wyatt. And I flipped around and I said, "You know Ron Wyatt?" And there were two men standing there, or sitting there. And he says, "Yeah, in fact, I have come here for 20 years. I knew Ron Wyatt, and I watched some of the archaeological dig that happened right here." And I went, oh, my eyes got so wide. And this man and his friend, the man was from the USA, and the other man was from Sweden, and they both got up and started to tell us about the archaeological dig and why the structure was put there, and where Yahshua died, and the fact that the Ark of the Covenant was right under us. Yeshua's blood had to anoint that ark, and on the right hand side, and how perfectly it lined up. And he is like revealing all this wonderful just truth, and we've studied it, we knew it, but not until you actually are right there and you're hearing someone who was there watching the whole thing unfold. It was the most amazing tour that Papa ever gave us. To send us these two men. And these two men were tall, and they were kind of big, and we're like so excited to have this time to interact with them and have them teach us. And then we wanted to go down to the Damascus Gate. Near the Damascus Gate was Zedekiah's tunnel, where Ron Wyatt found the tunnel in Solomon's tunnels. He found the tunnel, the way into the Ark of the Covenant. We didn't want to go see the Ark of the Covenant, obviously, because no one has been able to see it without dying, except for Ron Wyatt. And so we it's not time yet for it to be to come up yet. But these guys escorted us down to the tunnel and the caves of Zedekiah, and they knew exactly where they could point it out. We didn't even have to pay to go in. They pointed it out, and then they escorted us all the way back to our car. So through that little Muslim section, a very scary little section for us. I'm so excited to go for a walk with Papa because he has great things for us. He's fun to go walking with. I mean, he will challenge you. He sometimes scares you, but sometimes he just loves on you, and sometimes when he makes everything come together, and he provides for you a tour that you never asked for, a tour that would rock your world and change your life. That's pretty cool. And so I love walking with Papa. I like to just see what surprise he has around the corner, because I know he means me well, and he has good things in store. And he wants to share his heart. He wants to share the story. He wants you to know what his son accomplished and what he did. And that's what this bag reminds me of, is that story. I will never forget that story. I will absolutely never forget being down in the garden tomb, the most holy spot in the entire universe, where he was crucified, murdered, and where his blood anointed the Ark of the Covenant, bringing in the new order, the Melchizedek order, the superior order, and doing away with the Levitical order. How cool is that? And where he was buried and where he resurrected. So cool. So cool. So thank you for letting me share that story. But thank you for coming and sitting here and letting me share. So as I like to say in my stories he lived happily ever after. Yes, Yahshua lived happily ever after. He is living happily. He's going to live happily ever after. And through him, we get to live happily ever after. What better story do you want? That is just super cool. He lives happily ever after, therefore we get to live happily ever after. So definitely come again. I have more stories to share. All right, I'll see you again. Bye-bye.